Hi guys, Louis at Defending Elvis. So we're actually live this time. So in case anyone gets confused, I have been doing one video a day where we interact with each other. So we talk to each other through the comments, but we're not live. But it is a video that I've just made that I post. Yeah. So it's sort of a live because I'm there with you and we can comment, we can discuss the topic. But I don't read your comments and interact with them within the video. I do it within the comments. Is that confusing? It is a bit confusing. It's easier for me, guys, because I'm struggling to find time all the time where I can get on here. That has worked out for me because I can record a video without without any sort of distractions. Yeah. So then what then happens is I can then post it when I'm free, and then we can talk with each other while it's playing. So this is live because I'll give you an example how I run my life. Yeah, guys. I know that I have to pick up the kids at 3 o'clock. Luckily, the school is 1 minute from here. I can drive there in 1 minute. So I know it's 12 minutes past 2 now. So I know that I can talk with you guys for 40 minutes right now. I've had my dinner. My wife's free at the moment. I know that I've got over half an hour spare. So I quickly jump on, do a live, and it all works out. Okay, right, let's have a look. So let me just go on to Defending Elvis, tell people we're live quickly. I don't have time to message everyone. I'm just going to quickly post it on our Facebook page. Okay. Let's have a look. What I could do, actually, I could play a video while it's playing. I can quickly tell some people. That works out. Okay, so I'm going to discuss the video that was posted on Globetrotting Tray. Hi, Pat. How are you? I'm going to post the video that was posted on Globetrotting Tray. Let's see if I can find it. Dave Hebler being asked some very serious question. Okay, is that the one there? Let's have a look.
The final question was...
Right, now, I haven't watched this. Now, yesterday, someone told me that this is an older video that has been reposted by Globetrotting Tray. Now, I'm a big fan of Globetrotting Tray. I'm a big fan of Spar Guy. Spar Guy is there at this interview. I have watched some of this. Some of it is very uncomfortable, guys. You know, it's a funny one because I don't want to fall out with these people like Dave Hebler. We're upset with him about the book Elvis, What Happened. I do have it here. It's falling apart. Look at it. It's falling apart. Some of this book, believe it or not, is actually quite good. But obviously, we're not happy with the negative stuff. Guys, I would always say to you that mistakes in the past that were made by people that knew Elvis really well, that people that Elvis was very good to, I would always say it's a betrayal. Now, it doesn't mean these people can't go back and say sorry and show regret. Yeah? Because I think they can. I think people that have wronged Elvis can go back and say, do you know what? I was younger. I was a bit silly, a bit foolish. Maybe I shouldn't have done it. I really believe that. So, unfortunately, this hasn't happened with Dave Hebler. He stands his ground. Yeah, it's very hot today, isn't it, guys? In the UK, it's boiling. Yeah, I've just been for a long walk. We've already posted one video today on the video channel, not the live, the video on Defending Elvis YouTube. So, unfortunately, Dave Hebler doesn't seem to show regret. He doesn't, in my opinion, he just makes excuses. Tries to make it okay. Tries to explain and make us understand why he felt he had no choice. I'm not convinced. I personally think money was a big factor in their decision to write that book. As far as I know, they spent 30 days in a hotel, paid for by the publishers of this book. I think Steve Dunleavy was the main guy in the middle of all this. Red West, Sonny West, Dave Hebler. I do think that Red and Sonny spent the rest of their lives regretting that book. And don't forget, Elvis, that book was released weeks before Elvis died. Elvis really did struggle with the book, but we all know about the Red West conversation where Elvis really forgives Red. Yeah, I think Elvis to the end was very forgiving towards Red West and Sonny West. Not so sure about Dave Hebler. Now, I do think that that Red West and Sonny loved Elvis. I do. Yeah. I think they just messed up. They were angry, they were bitter, they were resentful. There could have been envy, there could have been jealousy. Who knows? Obviously, we have the discussion concerning how they were laid off by the father. There's a few different interviews saying that Elvis said give them 3 months' notice, blah, blah, blah. But the father didn't do that and just gave them a week's notice. Who knows the truth, guys? Who knows the truth? So I'm not here to attack Dave Hebler. He's an elderly man. He messed up. But I am going to be critical of his story, his points of view. As he gets asked questions, I'm going to give you my point of view I don't want to come across being hateful, guys. I want to try and be fair, try and understand why these three guys felt they needed to write this book, which did damage Elvis's image and reputation. It's one of those trash books that was copied and sensationalized and serialized in tabloids and magazines and on news clips and in documentaries and in biographies. One of many, but it did do damage, this book. So let's thanks, Mystic, that's kind. Right, so let's just press play. Now, the one thing I am unsure about is when was this video made? Because many people think this was made yesterday, because it was posted yesterday, but I don't think it was. I think it was posted, this could be a few years old. I wonder if it's titled, He Tried to Save Elvis, Then Got Fired. Dave Hebler tells his side of the story. Let's just press play and go from there.
Well, y'all loved Elvis so much, why don't you protect him? And I said, protect him?
Did you speak to me?
How do you protect a man from himself?
Who are we to judge? We weren't there. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, you know, that thing that gets me, you know.
Go do a few round the blocks first.
What you think you know about
Get a feel
Elvis
for the car
Presley,
first. It's a
if you
very
weren't
easy
there,
car
what you
to
think you know is hearsay. It's secondhand information. You heard it from somebody else. And you chose to believe whatever it is that you chose to believe. Now, some of that information was correct. It was right. Some of it was not so correct. And not so right. And some of it was just flat out wrong. You know, it just never did happen. You know, all those salacious stories. But I understand that folks, fans, they don't want to hear anything that they could construe as negative about somebody that they loved. Nobody wants to hear that. But you have to make a choice. Do you wander around the subject, or do you stand up and tell the truth? We stood up.
Okay, right. I have to comment on that. Now, I'm just getting your comments up here so I can comment on here, guys. So I'm going to try and, yeah. Right. 1 second, guys. Right. So I want to start off very quickly. I understand what Dave's trying to do. I understand what he's trying to say, but I have to reverse things. I see it differently. A friend doesn't stitch up a friend. That's it. Whoever he is, however famous he is, whatever problems he had, you don't stitch up a friend. You don't write a book about a friend. You don't get paid to write a book about a friend. You don't disclose private information about a friend. Yeah? So Dave is very well practiced in trying to change people's point of view, change people's mind, to make people see his point of view, to to go along with his reasons why it was okay what he did because he felt he had no choice. Yeah? I just don't agree. I would never say anything about my friend, even if he had problem with drugs, even if he was making mistakes. He's my friend. I won't betray him. I'll keep things private. I'll keep things to myself. That is my stance. So no matter what Dave says, I won't agree with his point of view on the reasons they took the decision to go ahead and write a book for money. Yeah, that exposes very private, personal details, true or not. But I do think we should hear David out. Let's hear what he's got to say.
We told the truth. We got far.
We have a lot more with Dave Hebler. He really goes into detail of what happened when he, Sonny West, and Red were fired by Elvis's dad once upon a time. And guys, join us for an evening at the dojo with Dave Hebler. Dave was in the Tigerman with Elvis back in the 70s in Mastery. And you can be with Dave Hebler at the Tigerman this Elvis week, our Mr. Tiger week. August the 13th, 4 to 5:30 p.m. Go to tigermandojo.com or tigermanmuseum.com. And it'll take you to this webpage that I'm showing you on the screen. And all you do is scroll down the page and you will see our video that I have running there. You will also learn information about the Tigerman here on our home screen. And then you get to our Mr. Tiger 2025 events. There's a conversation and meet and greet with Ginger Alden and an evening at the dojo with Dave Hebler. Just click on that photo. It will take you to the ticket link. Scroll down on the ticket link, hit this RSVP button, and it will take you to the bottom of the page where all you do is just select how many tickets you would like to purchase and press checkout. And you will join us at the Tigerman by Spy Guy, August the 13th from 4 to 5:30 at a meet and greet and talk with Dave Hebler. Now, let's get...
So, guys, promoting the Tigerman Dojo, I have to say, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah? Definitely go, buy tickets. If you can get there, if you live around there. I'm a big fan of Trey and Spy Guy. I think what they've done to that dojo, and this museum they've created is amazing. And these guests they're having are very interesting. Obviously, we love Ginger Alden and Dave Hebler. It will be interesting. And I'm sure that Spy Guy, Billy, and Trey are going to have some amazing events there. So I'm all for promoting them and praising the dojo, the Tigerman Dojo. Let's go from there, guys.
Get back to Dave Hebler. This is a great talk with Dave at the Tigerman from a few years ago.
Yeah, so he says a few years ago. I thought that. It was, I think it was Emily or Joanne. Joanne told me this is a few years old.
Did you ever try to talk to him about what you saw as problems, or that were problems?
Yeah, we did.
What were those conversations like?
Well, we would mostly accommodate Elvis and get around him. Just get around Like he said one time, he said, "Hey, Dave, watch this." And he swallowed 16 pills all at once without water. And he was quite proud of that.
See, when I hear these things, I don't want to call people a liar, but is it even possible to do that? I'm not going to call you a liar, David, but come on, 16 pills? How do you even do that? With no water? It just doesn't sound right.
Said, "Hold your hand out." And he put another set of 16 pills in my hand. He said, "Go ahead. You'll like this." I said, "No," I said, "I'll do this later."
So, again, does anyone think Elvis would turn to Dave Hebler and say, "Here's a handful of pills. You go on, swallow them. You'd like that." It just doesn't sound like Elvis. That's just me as a fan, my point of view, using just a bit of common sense.
And then when I walked off and I went over to Dr. Nick, I said, "Hey, what's this?" He said, "Where'd you get those?" "Where do you think I got them?" "I got them from Elvis." He said, "Well, good thing you didn't take them because you'd be dead."
And I've heard this a few times, guys. Does anyone here for a second think Elvis would give someone a handful of pills and then take the chance of that person dying? We've got to remember here, guys, Dave is trying to get people to his side of the fence. He's trying to make people see things from his point of view. Just those 2 points now that have just been discussed, is a friend remember, Elvis was very, very good to Dave Hebler. A friend, talking about a friend, an ex-friend, Elvis Presley, saying he nearly killed me. He nearly forced me to take a handful of drugs that would kill me, and that Elvis took 16 pills without water in front of him and almost boasted about how that he could do it. I'm not comfortable with it. I just don't know if I believe it.
Be nothing I could do to research you. Now you have to understand, I hate drugs. I always have. I don't take drugs. Well, alcohol. But I don't do it. So it was stuff like that which is so difficult to deal with. We actually set him up for a rehab center in conjunction with the police department in Colorado, and we sprung the news to him, you know, and the cops in Colorado, they were all narcs.
Yeah.
They said, Elvis, you know, we love you, man, but we're narcotics officers. That's the real ones, you know, and it's tearing us up to see what you're doing. So we set up a rehab facility that would be very private. No one would know anything about it, and you know, help you get straight. And he went nuts. You think I can handle my problem? I can handle my problem. I want to. Let's go. We're getting out of here right now. We left so fast.
See, the problem we've got here, guys, is that, you know, I understand Elvis had a temper. You couldn't really tell Elvis what to do. He was used to getting his way. But we honestly don't know if any of this is true. This is Dave Hebler's version. Now, remember, Dave is quite bitter. Dave has had a lot of hate for decades. I think Matt has just made a comment, Hillbilly Cat, that he had a difficult life, yeah? He still gets hate today, doesn't he? Dave Hebler still gets hate today. I still will never understand why he still, even at 80 odd years old, is trying to get people to be on his side. The Elvis fans, the majority of them, are not happy that he was involved with that book. No matter how many interviews you give, you will get some support. Dave Hebler does get some support. The Memphis Mafia do get some support from Elvis fans. I hear it every now and then. But the bottom line is, doesn't matter how you repackage it, these men did betray Elvis. Now, it doesn't mean they didn't love him, but they did betray him. Many people that loved Elvis betrayed him, including Priscilla, including family members, yeah? Even ex-girlfriends. So let's keep going, guys.
We had to leave 2 guys there to pack our bags. And then we ended up at Dr. Gam's place in Las Vegas. Dr. Feelgood, piece of shit, Elias Gammon. Dude was evil. Really was.
What kind of doctor was he? Was he a psychiatrist? Was he a...
No, he was just a regular...
primary care?
Yeah, but he would prescribe drugs. Not only just Elvis, Jerry Lee, other people. He had all kinds of clients. And he would get them these kinds of drugs. And then, of course, there was the people in the family and the entourage who were enablers. Y'all don't hear about that, do you?
Yeah.
They were the most insidious. The worst of them being Ricky. And he admitted it.
So, you know, he's obviously still playing the whole, let's get people to my side of the fence. Yeah. Now, there is obviously some truth to some of the things he says. He talks about Dr. Nick. He talks about the Stanleys, specifically Ricky, but he will talk about David as well. I do understand that there was people taking drugs around Elvis, heroin, coke, and many other things, partying around Elvis. When Elvis was asleep, there was stuff going on. I think Ginger Alden tried to make Elvis aware of all this. We don't really know what was really going on around Elvis, do we? Not really. We know that Dave and Rick have admitted to drug taking and partying whilst they were looking after Elvis. This is worrying. It's very concerning. Elvis, a very sick man, overprescribed, maybe abusing his medication. Elvis, 100%. He was a desperate man in a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, wanted to fix his body. Probably did like the feeling of certain tablets would give him. You know, I'm not going to whitewash things for Elvis. Some painkillers do make you feel good. But he was desperate and he was sick. There's no maybe. I think we on this show have proved just how sick Elvis was with the 2 books, Destined to Die Young, Sally Hoddle's, and Dr. Forrest Tennant's book. Come on, guys. Elvis was sick. He was sick as a child. He was sick through his life. He was in pain. He needed his medication.
Actually, went public and admitted it, that he did it.
That was quick.
So,
Should have done it more than that.
y'all can take it from there.
So,
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out where the balance is about the
Like
fact
how-
that he had this drug problem, but then I've also read a lot of stuff
You will.
about
Will
how
take
ill
longer.
he was, that he had a number of serious illnesses and
Yes.
had to take medications for a lot of, just let me finish. I had a mother who died from a very, very serious illness, and at the end of her life, she had a table full of drugs that one led to another, led to another, led to another, because once you start taking them, there's always something else that you end up
Yeah.
with. And she said to me at the end of her life, I wish I'd have never taken the first one. I think I would have been better off. So I wonder where the balance is with Elvis. Maybe you can shed some light.
Well, I'll tell you, and you make the judgment. Elvis had 3 drug problems, not one. He had
So I've listened to this already, but let's keep listening.
3. First, he was prescribed drugs, medications, for his real problems. I mean, real physical problems that he had.
Yeah, so we've discussed all of this, haven't we, guys? Went through all this yesterday. It's so upsetting just how sick Elvis was.
Those were prescribed by Dr. Nick, who was trying to manage that as well as he possibly could. When you get across the second drug problem, which is all these other doctors sending in jars full of various pills and what have you. I know, I intercepted them.
Right, okay. I mean, I'm not doubting that Elvis had other doctors. I don't know if they were sending jars of pills. I think that's an exaggerated way of putting it. But I get it. Elvis looked elsewhere for pills, medication, prescription medication. Elvis. But we have to put ourselves in Elvis's shoes. He was desperate, man. He was in serious pain. He was proper sick. He wanted to not feel pain. He wanted to sleep, have comfort, relax, feel awake, have energy for performing. He was obviously overworked. So, yeah, I agree. Elvis probably did abuse his prescription medication. I'm sure of it. He probably did like the feeling some of those medications gave him. But why? Why was he like that? Why was Elvis so desperate, searching for different medications, different ways of getting better? Obviously, we've heard about the acupuncture that nearly killed him. You got to understand why. Was it just because he wanted to get off his face and high and stoned? Or was it because he was desperately sick, in serious pain, and it was unbearable pain? That his whole body was letting him down. Obviously his colon problems, but many other problems, yeah? All of them that caused pain. So Elvis was trying everything to get better. So yes, he would use other pills, other doctors. Yes, people were bringing things to him that really they shouldn't have been. Yes, Elvis was dabbling in things he probably shouldn't have been. But for one reason, to get better, to stop the pain, to be able to sleep. You get it?
And then there was the third one. And that was the people, the enablers, who provided Elvis with those other drugs that made him feel good, that got him high, that he liked.
Okay, and again, I just want to say, remember guys, many painkillers will give you a high feeling. Many. It is not unusual. Yeah? Keep going, guys.
Those were the 3 drug problems. And you could kind of figure out who those people were.
So I think, this is where it hints on to Dave and Ricky. I'm not sure that Billy's involvement in this, Billy Stanley. I'm not sure. I haven't done enough research. I know Ricky and Dave were partying, getting stoned, heroin, coke, all that kind of stuff. Allegedly, for entertainment purposes, just an opinion. This whole show is just a discussion. But we are worried. What were they up to around Elvis leading up to his death? What was going on? What were the nurses doing? The doctors, Stanleys? We're all worried, concerned for Elvis. Did he need to die? Did he need to die?
Did we bully those guys?
Oh, I'm sure.
Hell yeah. You bet. We're going to hurt them bad if they kept bringing those drugs in. And they ran Elvis, crying, moaning, and groaning about what bullies we are, how we're picking on them, especially.
So I've heard some of this. Didn't Red and Sonny and Dave get pretty fisty, sort of fighty with the Stanley boys? Is that true or not, guys? Put it in the comments.
Dave, and he chose to believe what they were saying instead of what we were trying to do. But my conscience.
Is that true, though? Is that true? Is he connecting that with why they lost their jobs? Did they lose their jobs because they were trying to stop the drugs getting to Elvis? What do you think, guys? It's possible. Leave it in the comments.
This is clear. We tried everything that we knew how to do to help him with those problems. We stood up and did that. And guess who got fired as a result of it?
Yeah, so he's clearly saying they were fired because they stood up to try to prevent these people getting drugs to him. They were not happy, obviously, Elvis overtaking his prescription medication. But my research, I'm no researcher, I'm just a fan, shows that there were many other reasons. There were many other reasons why Vernon had got to a point where he felt he had to lay the three guys off. We've all heard the story that it should have just been for 3 months, and that Elvis may have rehired at least Sonny and Red. Yeah, but there's many other reasons. We've heard about potential lawsuits from fans because the Memphis Mafia, Dave, Sonny, and Red were being a bit too heavy-handed. I don't know the truth. Put it in the comments, guys. I'm learning as I go.
That's why we were fired. It wasn't because we weren't all of a sudden incapable of doing our job. Are you kidding? So, there you have it.
Dave, tell us about and some of you may or may not know this, but we're back to Dr. Gunn. Tell us about the sleep diet.
So before we go on to that, I want you guys to know I'm a big fan of Spar Guy Billy. I'm a big fan of Trey. I'm not doing this to go against Spar Guy or Trey. Love them both. Think they're great. Love their channels. Love their work. I'm very proud of both of them. Yeah. Dave Hebler, I do have some issues just as a fan. I think many of us do. I don't hate him. Yeah. He's a human being. He's a man in his 80s. I sympathize with his age. He still gets a lot of grief, a backlash from many fans, even now. He's gone through hell because of that book. So I have to understand that. But I do think he betrayed Elvis. And I think in his own way, he's still betraying Elvis now. None of this should be getting spoken about because these were friends. Dave was his friend. You shouldn't be talking about your friend. This he would have been paid to do this. Dave has done a few interviews in the last 3, 4, 5 years for money. Yeah, still makes money from the fact that he was once Elvis's bodyguard. This guy has benefited a lot because he was once Elvis's friend and bodyguard. So I do think Spar Guy, Billy's views on the Memphis Mafia, Red West, Sonny West, Dave Hebler, the book, Elvis What Happened, are definitely different than mine. But that's okay. we can have different views. We can agree to disagree on topics.
Oh, that son of a bitch. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. We agree.
How's this for a diet? You put the dude in a coma, and you keep him in a coma by, feeding him juices. And because he's not functioning and moving around and everything, and he's not eating, he loses weight. What a great diet plan, wasn't that? That was Ghanem's diet plan.
Yeah, I mean, that is horrific, isn't it? This why that happened, where Elvis would knock himself out for days to lose weight. Whose idea was that? Was it because of that? Was it Elvis's choice? Was it the doctor's choice? Was it people around him that suggested it? We don't know, do we? But it's heartbreaking.
He damn near killed him.
Didn't he do that before the Aloha? So he could get in shape for the Aloha concert?
Yeah, he did it a couple times.
Yeah, that's what I did before the
Yeah,
Aloha.
Elvis trusted doctors. He got the stuff from doctors. It must be okay.
There you go. Yeah.
And the dark side of Elvis is that it was Elvis's way or the highway. Absolutely every single time. If you didn't accommodate him, you were gone. Guess who was gone?
So let me address that as well. Okay. Now he said Elvis got his way. If you didn't accommodate him, you were gone. But who are the people that Elvis sacked that because he didn't get his way? Who are they? Yeah. Don't forget, these guys didn't lose their job till the later part of the 70s. Yeah, I don't exactly. When were they sacked? What was the actual month they were sacked, guys? I'd like, he's basically saying if Elvis didn't get his way, he would sack you. So who are the people Elvis sacked? I want to know this list of people that Elvis sacked because he didn't get his way. Who are they? Put it in the comments, guys.
So what was that like? How did you get fired? How did that all go down?
We got back from that racquetball thing last night, and I came in the morning, and nobody's there. I'm standing there in the kitchen, and there's nobody there. What the heck is this? And the phone rings, and it's Vernon. He wanted to see me in the office. I said, all right. So I went over there, and he said, well, we've been having all these financial problems and everything, that kind of thing. We're going to have to cut back on the staff, and you're one of them. And the other two, of course, were Red and Sonny, which I thought kind of funny because he hired 3 other guys. Take our place.
So when he says hired 3 other guys, we're talking. Are we talking Billy, Stanley, Rick, and Dave Stanley?
Yes. It was just, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, what was that like? Were you just numb? I mean,
Well, I felt 3 things, right? One, the way in which they did it. Elvis left town in the dead of night and left it up to his father. And then we found out later that Elvis had told his father to give us each $5,000 and put us out and bring us back in a month. But Vernon didn't do any of that. He gave us 2 days' notice and a week's pay. So one of the motivations then...
So did you hear what he just said? 2 days' notice and a week's pay. But do we know that happened? Do we know? Can we prove? I mean, obviously we know they lost their jobs, okay? But can we prove it was 2 days' notice and a week's notice? Also, the other thing is he just said that Elvis said give them a month's notice. Yeah. So I always, saying that is one thing, but backing it up with proof is another.
I'm 38 years old. I got a family. How the hell am I going to provide for my family? Right?
Right. So, okay. Right. So this keeps coming up that these people suddenly, because they'd lost their jobs, if I personally don't think it was 2 days' notice and all that. But come on, guys. Come on, let's be honest. These were very young, healthy, strong bodyguards that have been doing security work for Elvis for years, for decades, some of them, that had done, that were they were extras on the movie sets, some of them, yeah? Red West definitely was. Why suddenly are these people unemployable? Why suddenly are these people not able to get jobs? I would have thought they were very employable because they had just been looking after one of the most famous celebrities in the world for decades, for years. I know with Dave it was only 3 or 4 years. Dave was an expert in karate. Yeah, Dave had his own way of creating some kind of income. What I mean is getting a different job. Yeah, doing a different job, maybe as a security guard. Yeah, so I will never accept that these 3 men's families were going to starve, have no home, nowhere to live, no clothes on their back because Elvis had laid them off. No way, I don't accept it. These people were very employable.
Same with Red, same with Sonny. And the manner in which they did it really ticked us off because that wasn't right. It wasn't even close to right. Not too bad for me, I was only there 4 years, but Red, 24 years? Sonny, 16 years? And you treat him like that?
So, you got to remember just how much Elvis had looked after Red and Sonny. Yeah, I'm not so sure about Dave. He was a newbie. He'd only been around 3 or 4 years. But Elvis had given Sonny and Red a life you could only dream of. Only dream of. So, come on. You can't moan about how things ended, and we don't know the full story why things ended the way they did. Elvis must have been pretty upset. So Vernon must have been pretty upset. So there's probably a lot more to it. Yeah? Things that we'll never know. But you can't just rub out the last 16 years on how well Elvis treated these people. I'm on about Sonny and Red. Yeah? So I don't accept that comment. I think Elvis was extremely good to these people. They had an amazing life, amazing time. They loved their time with Elvis. Elvis was very, very generous to them and their wives and their girlfriends and their kids. So to summarize it all up by the way they lost their job is completely unfair because it's a very tiny portion of what Elvis did for these people.
That ain't right. So then there's this other room, and it's mostly recent, I heard this one, that we were actually planning to do the book before we even were let go, which is a bunch of crap. We didn't even think about it until months later, a couple months later.
So, I'm sorry to keep dwelling on this, but did you ever talk to Elvis again after that? After Vernon fired you?
No.
You never did?
No.
Wow.
Red did.
Huh?
Did Red in a phone call? Yeah.
Red West.
Red did.
Yeah, he called Red on the phone, and Red taped it. I was sitting there listening to the conversation.
I never knew that. I never knew that Dave Hebler was sat next to Red. That makes it worse. So Red is secretly recording his friend that he spent decades with, went to school with, and he's got his mate Dave Hebler sat there listening, and he's recording it, and Elvis didn't know. Elvis didn't know that Red was recording that conversation. What a disgrace. What a betrayal. And then you've got Dave Hebler sat there listening. Who else was listening? That's the first time I've heard that, guys.
So, yes, sir.
Were you there when these 4 guys tried to attack Elvis?
I'm sorry.
When they tried to attack him on stage?
4 guys tried to attack
Were you
Elvis
there?
on stage.
When those guys came up on stage?
Yeah.
No, I was not there. I missed out on all of them.
Well, back on the book just a second. I know Steve Dunleavy was involved with it, as the writer putting it together. Did he contact you guys, or did you see us through an agent?
Yeah, we made a deal with Valentine.
Okay.
And they sold it to
Yeah, so the question was really, did you approach Steve Dunleavy and the publishers? So he's not really answering the question. He does say, oh, we made a deal with Valentine, which tells me that they did approach the publishers or the middleman dealing with the writing of this book. So it does seem from what he just said, Dave Hebler, that they did make the first move. Dave, Red and Sonny did make the first move, because he doesn't answer the question properly here.
Not the Inquirer, the other magazine. And Dunleavy was a staff writer for them, and they just assigned him to be the writer. And we sat in a hotel room in Hollywood for 30 days telling stories. And most of the stories were fun stories, you know, good times that we had.
Ugh, but, you know, come on, guys. 30 days in a hotel room, probably in luxury, to betray your friend. I agree that you did tell a lot of good stories as well, because they're in the book. Maybe you are surprised that the negative stuff was sensationalized and exaggerated, but it was going to happen. These people were in it to make money, to write a book that was going to sell millions of copies. So of course they were going to exaggerate everything. But you were doing this about your mate Elvis. Red and Sonny were doing this about someone they grew up with from school.
But if you read that damn book, just read the cover on both sides and understand this. We never said those words. Ever. The publishers did. And
I'm sorry, I just don't believe that. Sorry, I don't believe that. I think you said a lot of things. I do agree things were exaggerated.
I'll settle this right now. I have people talking about me making millions of dollars. I made 1.6 cents per book.
So now he's going to belittle the amount he made per book. I heard they got a one-off payment. I don't know what it was, 30 grand each or something. But do you know what? The money is irrelevant to me now. It just shouldn't have happened. And belittling the amount of money you got for the sale of the book doesn't change what you did. It just shouldn't have happened. You don't betray a friend for money, no matter what.
Less than 2 pennies. And never got a paycheck for the last 10 years that the book was in print.
Yeah, but they never knew that was going to happen. They never knew that was going to happen. The fact they got ripped off by the publishers has nothing to do with this.
And we hated that book.
Yeah.
Because it was all distorted. They took our stories, put a spin on it to make it as sensational as they possibly could make it. And when we objected and wanted to, gave them, our opinion, they just said, and we were helpless to do anything about it. They owned.
Yeah, but you made a deal with the devil. Yeah, I do understand that the publishers and Steve Dunleavy exaggerated everything and made the book even more of a horror story than you were expecting, but you shouldn't have done it in the first place. This is the problem. It should never have been done in the first place. It's no good backtracking and saying, oh, they exaggerated it, sensationalized it, blah, blah, blah. This book went round all the tabloids and was serialized. This book did serious damage to Elvis's image and reputation. This book traumatized Elvis. Elvis knew about this book in advance of it being published. Yes, it was released weeks before he died, but he was well aware of it way back. The decision to write the book was the mistake, was the betrayal, not everything else that happened after, not the fact that the publishers, Steve Dunleavy and that, exaggerated it. That isn't the problem here. The problem is you shouldn't have done it in the first place. You made a decision. You did a deal with the devil. That is the mistake. And you still haven't said sorry. Where's the apology? Where's the regret? And then you make excuses saying, we did it to try and help him come off drugs. Come on. Are the public that stupid? Are the public that stupid? They don't see through all this. This was done out of bitterness. Greed for money. This was a backlash to Elvis. He did not deserve it. Elvis was very, very, very good to these three men. Very good to them. Was everything perfect? No, Elvis was a human.
All the rights. And we didn't have any.
You didn't have a recourse on getting your money.
Pardon me?
You did not have a recourse on receiving your payments for the.
How do you do it? You would have to sue them in their own state. The public.
So, you know, I think we've heard enough, but there's no undoing this. The best you can do is say sorry and show regret and not try and make excuses for it. Not trying to make everyone come over to your side of the fence isn't going to work for you. You will get the people that are very loyal to certain Memphis Mafia members. You will get that. You'll always get it. You'll get some people that support the book and that believe that you did the book to help Elvis come off his prescription medication problem, a very sick man. Yeah, you're going to always have some support, but most of the fans don't support what you did and think what you did was a massive betrayal.
Elvis
could have sued them for libel and defamation of character.
Who could have done what?
Elvis could have sued them for libel and defamation of
He may have if he
character. Yeah.
He was dead.
So Elvis could have sued them and all that. You know, I get it. I agree with what someone's just said here. All the people watching this, you know, if you're a true Elvis fan, you know, I think the people are quite shocked, quite upset. Dave Hebler's body language is not good. It's not good. He still seems very angry, very bitter. He doesn't come across very well. He seems actually a bit unfriendly. He also seems quite defensive. Yeah, even angry. So I don't hate Dave Hebler. I don't hate him. I actually feel sorry for him. He made a massive mistake that he's had to pay for his whole life. I have to go and get the kids, guys. So there's no hate here. I don't hate Dave Hebler. I actually feel sorry for him. He's an elderly man. I probably have different views than Billy Spar Guy when it concerns this situation. You know, thank you to Trey and Spar Guy, Globetrotting Trey, that I'm playing this old video from a few years ago. We know that Dave Hebler will be back at the dojo, the Tigerman Dojo, soon. The Tigerman Dojo is reopening. Please, if you're in Memphis, go there. I think it's amazing. I'm a big fan of the Tigerman Dojo Museum. I think it's fantastic. I think what Spar Guy Billy has achieved there is phenomenal. Amazing. All kudos, all credit to Trey and Spar Guy and anyone involved in reopening the Tigerman Dojo. Amazing. But with the situation with Dave Hebler, sorry guys, he doesn't get my vote. He doesn't get my vote. He betrayed Elvis. So did Sonny. So did Red. And isn't it a shame? Isn't it a shame that Dave Hebler can't say sorry, can't show regret or remorse, and is still, all these years later, 40 odd years later, still trying to make excuses for what he did to his friend that was so good to him. Elvis was so good to these people. It's shocking to watch. It is shocking to watch. Very upsetting. So no apology, guys. Anyway, thanks for joining me. And I hope you enjoyed this. I'll try and come back on for a dog walk on the Keto channel. But quite emotional. Quite emotional, guys. Poor Elvis. Poor Elvis. The people closest to him let him down the most. The people around Elvis that were closest to him around the time of his death let him down the most. That includes friends and family. Very sad. Even his ex-wife. Very sad. Very sad. Take care, guys.